In this lesson, we're going to be looking at the basic form of the feet and how we can approach drawing the feet in a fairly straightforward way. The fundamental form of the feet really is a pyramid type of shape, very much like this, where the back of the pyramid shape is slightly offset. So from a side view, we get this kind of look. However, the foot has a few pivot points on it, which forces us to split this basic shape into sections. The individual toes themselves can pivot, they have a single joint. The front section of the foot itself pivots when you bend your feet, when you stand on your tippy toes. And then the heel, where the lower leg connects into, is a split point as well that we want to draw as a separate form. So when you convert these basic understanding of these splitting areas into 3D, we end up having a basic structural form that looks something like this. And I'm just drawing through here so that we can see all those planes. The toes, the front of the foot, the arc of the foot, and the heel. These are our basic sections. Now, as we have done previously, we can take what we know about these sections and we can then add opposing curves theory to them. So at that same angle, we take those basic 3D shapes, we can then say to ourselves, well, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. So we want to get 4 sections down and we want to start adding dynamism to them. For argument's sake, let's start with the arc of the foot. The arc usually always bends down at this kind of angle. So we'll put in our arc there and bend it at that angle. Because the opposing curves says that the curves need to oppose, means that the heel is bending more at this angle. Let's bring it down a little bit. Just like that. And draw through here just so that we can see the forms a little bit more clearly. And that means the front section of the foot, in a general sense, before we add the toes, bends up. And most of the time, you'll probably end up drawing feet, unless you're doing a really close-up of feet or you really want it to be hyper accurate. Most of the time, you'll end up drawing them in this particular way. The opposing curves will move in this order, down, over, and down again. However, when you do get to toe level, technically, because the curve opposes up here, the toes themselves end up folding inwards as they do in reality. And then we know that the toes go from small toes to big toes. So we add the necessary dynamism to our shape to indicate that. Put a line where that pivot point is, and then we can fold the toes in. Getting our basic foot structure. A key thing to remember is at this top area over here is where we have the lower leg plugging into. So let's get a leg design in here quickly, some leg forms. And in our planning, we may want to use just the very simple basic form. But when we start wanting to really draw that foot out, we can then apply over that basic form the basic opposing curve structure that we know about. And we keep following the opposing curve structure as we move over that, and it gives us that overskin layer of the feet. So really, we want to just remember those primary pivot points. The toe pivot point, the front of the foot, and that the heel is really a separate section, in a way, from the arc of the foot. When we then apply our opposing curves structure to this, the arc usually always arcs in this particular way. And that also helps us when we're doing an anatomical drawing to draw that interior section of the foot that curves inwards on the inside of your foot, whereas the outer curve is more of a long curve, the inner curve is more of a narrow curve, and there is the big toe. And the opposing curves, even in this flat 2D view of the foot, still at work in the anatomical forms. Nevertheless, as we draw over this in a 2D kind of view, just for understanding reasons, we can see how the opposing curves work. And how, especially here in the heel, how that translates to when the foot, the lower leg connects to that section. In a nutshell, these are the basic forms that you can use to draw the feet. There are a million ways to draw things, but structurally this is a very solid way for you to grasp drawing the feet, particularly learning the opposing curves structure of these 3 or 4 basic sections, depending whether you're drawing in the toe section or not. And that is the end of this lesson. Let's move on.